Welcome back to our channel, where we bring you the deepest, most detailed dives into the daily drama of Genoa City. Today is a fantastic day to unpack some truly explosive developments that are about to rock the foundations of our favorite families. Let us jump right into the heart of the action and explore the devastating consequences of unchecked anger. Devon Winters is a man standing on the precipice of absolute darkness. Over the past few weeks, we have watched him descend into a toxic spiral of unyielding rage and bitter resentment. His marriage to Abby Newman has spectacularly imploded, resulting in Abby packing her bags and taking their precious son, Dominic, to the safety of the Abbott mansion. The catalyst for this total destruction of his family unit was Devon's relentless, obsessive crusade to see Mariah Copeland locked behind the cold, steel bars of a federal prison. When the judge officially upheld Mariah's plea deal, mandating treatment in a psychiatric facility than a prison sentence, something inside Devon fundamentally snapped. He viewed this legal decision not as a path to rehabilitation for a deeply troubled woman, but as a gross miscarriage of justice that entirely invalidated the trauma his family endured during Dominic's kidnapping. Unable to process his grief and anger constructively, Devon has allowed his fury to metastasize, blinding him to the collateral damage he is causing to everyone around him. Driven by this blinding need for retribution, Devon makes a chilling decision to visit Mariah at the secure psychiatric facility where she has been remanded for treatment. The atmosphere of the facility is stark, clinical, and designed for healing, standing in sharp contrast to the chaotic, destructive storm raging inside Devon's heart. When Mariah is brought into the visitor's room, her physical and emotional fragility is immediately apparent. She is a shell of the vibrant woman she once was, heavily medicated, emotionally raw, and desperately trying to piece together the shattered fragments of her psyche. She sits across from Devon, her eyes filled with a mixture of profound sorrow, lingering guilt, and a desperate, fragile hope that he has come to offer a sliver of understanding, or perhaps even a path toward eventual forgiveness. She is entirely unprepared for the calculated psychological warfare Devon is about to unleash upon her. The tension in the small, sterile room is suffocating as Devon sits silently for a moment, his eyes boring into Mariah with a chilling, detached coldness. Slowly, deliberately, he reaches into his jacket and produces a brightly colored piece of folded construction paper. With a slow, agonizingly deliberate motion, he slides the item across the smooth surface of the table until it rests directly in front of Mariah. It is a hand-make-it-well card, crafted with the innocent, clumsy artistry of a young child. Devon's voice, when he finally speaks, is deceptively calm, a quiet murmur that masks the venom beneath. He explains that the card is from Dominic. He tells Mariah that despite everything she did, despite the terror she inflicted, Dominic is still a sweet, trusting, and innocent little boy who simply knows that someone he once cared about is sick and needs to get better. The sight of the card, and the mention of Dominic's pure, untainted affection acts as a physical blow to Mariah. Tears immediately well in her eyes as the crushing weight of her actions crashes down upon her all over again, but Devon is not finished. He masterfully uses the profound innocence of his son as a weapon, twisting the psychological knife deeper into Mariah's open wounds. He leans in close, his voice dropping to a harsh, unforgiving whisper as he asks her how she could possibly look at that innocent child, a child who loved her and trusted her implicitly, and tear him away from his parents. He demands to know how she could justify the sheer terror she inflicted upon an infant, weaponizing the very love and trust that Dominic freely offered. Devon paints a vivid, agonizing picture of the nights he and Abby spent in pure agony, wondering if their son was safe, cold, or crying for his mother. As Devon speaks, the thin veneer of his calm demeanor completely shatters, giving way to the raw, visceral rage that has consumed him for weeks. He abandons the quiet manipulation and unleashes a torrent of unrestrained fury. He tells Mariah, in no uncertain terms, that he did not come to the facility to offer forgiveness, understanding, or closure. He came to look her in the eye and tell her exactly how much he despises the fact that she is sitting in a comfortable hospital rather than rotting in a prison cell. He rails against the legal system, against the judge who accepted her plea deal, and against the very concept that her severe postpartum psychosis and mental breakdown excuse the crime of kidnapping. Devon's voice echoes off the sterile walls as he forcefully declares that she belongs behind bars, suffering for the pain she caused, and that this facility is nothing more than a luxurious escape from the true consequences of her monstrous actions. Mariah shrinks back in her chair, physically recoiling from the sheer force of Devon's hatred. She is sobbing uncontrollably now, her hands trembling as she clutches the edges of the table. Through her tears, she desperately tries to articulate her profound remorse. She does not make excuses for her actions. She fully acknowledges the horror of what she did to Dominic, to Abby, and to Devon. She pleads with him to understand that her mind was completely broken, that the trauma of the surrogacy, the isolation, and the terrifying postpartum psychosis had warped her reality until she genuinely believed she was the only one who could protect the baby. She begs Devon to see that she is putting in the agonizing work required to heal, that she is facing her demons every single day in therapy, and that she is truly, deeply sorry for the devastation she wrought upon their lives. But Devon is entirely deaf to her pleas. His heart has been hardened into an impenetrable fortress of bitterness. He coolly dismisses her tears as manipulative, brushing aside her clinical diagnosis of psychosis as a convenient excuse to avoid accountability. He tells her that her apologies are worthless to him, and that no amount of therapy or medication will ever erase the fact that she is a kidnapper who destroyed his family. He systematically dismantles every ounce of progress she has made in the facility, telling her that she is fundamentally broken, inherently dangerous, and utterly undeserving of the peace she is trying to find. His words are designed to completely annihilate her self-worth, to strip away the fragile scaffolding her doctors have built, and to leave her drowning in an ocean of inescapable guilt and self-loathing. It is in this exact moment, under the crushing, relentless weight of Devon's unyielding hatred, that Mariah's fragile mind finally and catastrophically snaps. The intense emotional trauma of the confrontation overwhelms her medicated stability. The sterile walls of the visitor's room begin to warp and spin around her. Devon's angry voice fades into a distorted, echoing buzz replaced by a sudden, terrifyingly familiar sound. It is a voice from her darkest past, a voice she thought she had silenced forever. Standing in the corner of the room, materializing from the shadows of her fractured psyche, is the hallucination of Y&R, the notorious cult leader, the man who manipulated her, abused her, and warped her mind during her most formative years, is suddenly standing there, smiling his chilling, predatory smile. The hallucination of Y&R is terrifyingly vivid. He steps forward, his presence suffocating the room, completely ignoring Devon, who is still ranting obliviously. Ian's voice slithers into Mariah's ears, smooth, hypnotic, and laced with dark poison. He tells her that Devon is right. He whispers that she has always been broken, that she is inherently wicked, and that she destroys everything she touches. Ian reminds her of her time in the cult, twisting her memories to convince her that she is a monster who can never be redeemed. He tells her that the doctors are lying to her, that the medication is poison, and that this facility is not a place of healing, but a prison designed to torture her. The hallucination preys on every single insecurity and ounce of guilt Devon just forcefully laid bare, amplifying them 1,000-fold until Mariah is entirely consumed by a waking nightmare. Mariah clutches her head, letting out a visceral, agonizing scream that startles Devon into sudden silence, but she is no longer seeing Devon. She is trapped in a terrifying alternate reality where Y&R is the absolute master of her fate. Ian commands her to run. He tells her that they are coming to lock her away forever, that Devon is going to ensure she rots in the dark, and that her only chance for survival is to escape this place immediately. Driven by pure, unadulterated terror and the overwhelming command of her psychotic hallucination, Mariah acts with a sudden, unpredictable burst of adrenaline. She flips the heavy table backward, sending it crashing into Devon and pinning him momentarily against the wall. Before the facility orderlies can fully react to the sudden explosion of violence in the visitor's room, Mariah is already moving. Fueled by the desperate, frantic energy of a severe psychotic break, she bolts through the door. The sterile quarters become a labyrinth of terror as she navigates the facility, her mind entirely hijacked by Y&R's phantom directions. She evades the scrambling security personnel, her survival instincts kicking into overdrive. In a chaotic sequence of events, utilizing a momentarily unsecured exit during a shift change or a medical emergency distraction, Mariah manages to slip through the heavy security doors and out into the sprawling grounds of the psychiatric hospital, disappearing into the surrounding landscape before the perimeter can be fully locked down. Back in the visitor's room, the blaring sirens of the facility's lockdown alarm shatter the air. Devon struggles to his feet, staring at the empty doorway in stand, horrifying disbelief. The sheer magnitude of what his vengeance has just unleashed begins to dawn on him. He came here to punish Mariah, to make her feel the pain she caused him, but instead, he has pushed a severely mentally ill woman into a catastrophic psychological collapse. His relentless cruelty has undone months of delicate psychiatric treatment in a matter of minutes, transforming a recovering patient into a terrified, delusional fugitive. Devon is left alone with the crushing realization that his inability to let go of his anger has just created an infinitely more dangerous situation for everyone involved. The escape of Mariah Copeland triggers an immediate, massive response from the Genoa City Police Department and the facility's security teams. A tense, high-stakes manhunt is quickly organized, with search dogs, helicopters, and heavily armed officers scouring the area. The stakes are incredibly high, as Mariah is not only a danger to herself while in the throes of a severe psychotic break, but her unpredictable state makes her a potential danger to others. The news of her escape sends shockwaves through Genoa City, terrifying Sharon Newman, who is already dealing with the trauma of Matt Clark in Las Vegas, and sending Abby into a state of absolute panic as she tightens security around Dominic at the Abbott mansion. Devon's reckless, vindictive action has set off a chain reaction of chaos that will reverberate through the Winters and Newman families for weeks to come. By prioritizing his own need for retribution over the mental stability of a fragile woman, he has unleashed a ghost from the past and triggered a terrifying crisis. As the sun sets over Genoa City, a deeply unstable Mariah is out there in the dark, running from the phantom of Y&R and the very real demons of her own guilt. The desperate search to find her before tragedy strikes will push every character to their absolute limits, proving once again that in this town, the pursuit of vengeance always comes with a devastating, unpredictable price.